Hello friends, today I'm going to show you how to make heart-shaped macarons. We will make a red batch first and then we're going to make another batch with different tones of burgundy. On my blog you can find two templates for the macarons. A smaller one that measures about 1.5 inches and a slightly bigger one that measures about 2 inches. You can download the templates, print them and place under your baking mat or parchment paper to pipe the hearts. On this video, I'm also going to give you the best tips on how to make the perfect heart-shaped macarons, where they aren't round at the bottom but actually have a defined shape. So let's get started. Before we get started, we're going to sift together the almond flour and powdered sugar and set it aside. Also, here I'm showing a step that I don't usually show in my videos, but I do this every single time I make macarons. I wipe my mats down with vinegar. I also wipe my bowls down with vinegar and the whisk. This is super important to remove any traces of grease that might be on the materials that you're using. If the grease comes in contact with the meringue or with the batter, it can cause several different macaron issues. Now let's place a bowl over a pan with barely simmering water. We're going to add the granulated sugar and I'm also adding egg white powder. If you don't have egg white powder or if you can't find it, simply skip it. You don't have to change anything else in the recipe. Now add the egg whites and begin whisking. Now we're going to whisk this until the sugar is completely melted. It should only take a couple of minutes. You can test by touching the mixture between your fingers, and if you don't feel any sugar granules, you can remove it from the heat. Now transfer the syrup to the bowl of a mixer. Start whisking on low and then increase the speed to medium and then to medium high. I like to finish whipping on speed 6 of my KitchenAid. Whip the meringue until stiff peaks are formed. When you pull the whip up, the peaks should be shooting straight up. They shouldn't be falling down to the side. Now I'm going to transfer the meringue to this bowl so I can show you the macaronage process a little bit better. Add the sifted dry ingredients to the meringue, and also I'm going to add food coloring. I'm going to add red gel food coloring. Here the brand I'm using is Macaron. This is not sponsored, it's just my favorite brand. And then begin to do the macaronage until we achieve the perfect consistency, and I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So here I noticed that I needed a little bit more food coloring, but since I was out of Macaron, I decided to add some of the Wilton that I had. So we're gonna add that in and continue to fold. You know the macaronage is done when you can pick up some batter with the spatula and draw several figure eights with the batter that's flowing off the spatula without having it break up. And then even after the batter breaks up, it still continues to flow slowly and effortlessly off the spatula. So now we're going to transfer this batter to a piping bag fitted with a small round tip. And I'm also going to secure the top of the bag so it doesn't dry out and so that none of the batter comes out from the top. So now I'm going to show you the burgundy batter, and then later I'm going to show you how to pipe all the hearts. So here we already have a stiff meringue. We're just going to add the dry ingredients to the meringue and we're going to add food coloring. So since we're making several tones of burgundy, I'm just going to add a little bit of burgundy to the base batter. As soon as the dry ingredients have incorporated with the meringue, let's split the batter between the different bowls so we can make the different tones. Work with one batter at a time, keeping the remaining ones covered so they don't dry out. To make the different tones, we're just going to add different amounts of burgundy to the batters. So here we're making a little bit of a darker tone. Add the food coloring and fold until the perfect consistency is achieved. The batter should be flowing off the spatula slowly but effortlessly, and you should be able to draw several figure eights with the batter that's flowing off the spatula. Then transfer this batter to a piping bag, secure the top, and set it aside. let's work on the next batter. I'm making this one a little bit darker, so I'm going to add more burgundy food coloring. As soon as the macaronage is done, we're going to transfer this batter to another piping bag. Now we're going to do the same thing with this other batter, just add a little bit of burgundy food coloring to obtain a different tone. Now another thing that's important to say is that you should leave all those piping bags that you're going to need prepared before you start making this. So here you have an easy time and you don't run the risk of the batters drying out. And now for our final batter, we're not going to add anything. We're going to keep this one the light color. We're just going to stir until the perfect consistency is achieved. Transfer it to a piping bag, and now we're going to begin piping. So these are the 2-inch hearts from my blog. You can grab the template there and you can download it, print it, and place under your mat or parchment paper so you can pipe your hearts. So to pipe the hearts, we're going to start at the top left and then start applying pressure as you drag the piping bag down to the bottom. And then stop and then go up to the right and do the same thing. Pipe and bring it to the center and down. Also, I like to apply more pressure at the top and less pressure at the bottom since the two batters are going to merge together, and also because you're going to want the batter to be a little bit thinner down there. Another good idea is to pipe one row at a time or a few macarons at a time, and then use a toothpick to help spread the batter out to the outlines before the batter dries out. If you pipe all the macarons first and then you start using the toothpick to smooth out the batter and spread it out to the outlines, then the batter might be too dry and you might not be able to do this. So my recommendation is just pipe a few macarons at a time. Use a toothpick to help drag the batter to the outlines, especially at the bottom where you want that little tip at the bottom. If you don't do this, the macaron is going to be round at the bottom. And this is also helping us pop any air bubbles that might be in the batter. Then give it a tap. You can either tap against the counter or you can use your hands to tap the bottom of the tray. So we're going to do this until we're done with all the batter. Just pipe all the hearts a little bit at a time. Use a toothpick to smooth out the batter and to drag it to the outlines of the hearts. And then tap it gently on the bottom to release any remaining air bubbles that might still be there. Another important thing here is that you need to use a small round tip. I'm using a Wilton 10 and also a Wilton 8. All these tips have a diameter of less than 1/4 of an inch. This is going to help you get a very nice defined shape, especially at the bottom, which is where most people have a problem with getting that nice hard shape. So just to recap, here are some of my most important tips to making the heart-shaped macarons. Number 1 is to use a small round tip. I'm using a 10 and an 8 Wilton. The second tip is to pipe a little bit at a time and use a toothpick immediately to help spread the batter out to the edges of the heart template. So this way the batter won't dry. The next tip is to tap the tray against the counter or against the bottom of your hand to release any air bubbles and also to help spread the batter. And make sure to form a pointy edge at the bottom of the heart shape with the toothpick because as the macarons bake, the bottom will round up slightly. After you're done piping the macarons, let the shell sit and dry for 20 to 40 minutes. Drying time is really going to depend on your kitchen, on the consistency of the batter, on how much food coloring you added. A good way to tell is to try to touch a macaron with your finger, and if it doesn't stick to your finger, you're ready to bake. Also, don't forget to remove the template from under the mats. I baked my macarons at a 325 Fahrenheit oven. After 6 minutes baking, I rotate my tray so the macarons bake evenly and I don't get any lopsided macarons. Not every baker has to rotate their trays. This is going to depend on your oven. And please note that oven temperature and baking time are going to depend on your oven as well. Bake for a total of 15 to 20 minutes until you can try to move a macaron and it doesn't feel jiggly. If it feels jiggly, you need to keep on baking it. Now let the macarons cool down before proceeding with the filling. For the filling, we're doing a simple cream cheese frosting because it's my favorite. Beat the cream cheese and the butter with a mixer for about 2 minutes until fluffy and incorporated together. With the mixer off, add the powdered sugar and start mixing until incorporated. Then raise the speed and cream for a minute or so until very fluffy. Now we're going to add vanilla and mix to combine. Pipe the filling in the macarons and then let the macarons mature in the fridge overnight before serving them. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. The link to my blog where you can grab the templates and download them, and also for the full recipe, is going to be down below in the description box. So go check that out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks, bye.